Hey guys, this is Nick Thompson with Rocky Mountain ATV MC, and today we're going to be going over my top 5 enduro tips for beginners. The number one thing in enjoying my ride and riding my best is being loose. Now, I don't know how to perfectly describe this. It's different for everybody, but when you're riding and you're loose, you don't have stuff like arm pump, or you don't get tired. You're moving with the bike. So you need to find that place where you're controlling the bike, but you're also maintaining loose. Now, arm pump, as far as I'm concerned, is baloney. And if you're riding the bike properly and you're doing it loose, having your upper body loose and controlling the bottom of the bike with your lower body, arm pump isn't really a thing. I don't care how bad a shape or how good a shape you're in. So the first thing we need to learn how to do is how to become loose on the bike. The next thing that I really like to focus on is riding on the balls of my feet. Now, you're gonna find that this is really hard to do when shifting or braking. So what you need to learn how to do is be able to move around on those pegs. When we're going up hills, when we're going through a rock section, through a matrix, any technical section, you always wanna be on the balls of your feet. And the reason that is because it provides balance. Especially in EnduroCross, where everything is so condensed, it brings the most extreme obstacles right one after another. It's very important to be in balance, and that's the same thing for up in the trails, up in the mountains. We want to be on the balls of our feet to control our bike, going up those gnarly routes, the gnarly rock sections. You want to be on the balls of your feet. Now, when I'm focused on corners, one of my best things is getting the foot right back to the peg. You come ripping around a corner. My third tip is you're coming around a corner, you stick your leg out. You want to get that foot back to the peg as soon as possible. What that does is it provides weight to weight our rear tire to get traction, and it also provides us to get right back in that balanced position. All these techniques are compounding one off of the other, right? So we want to get our foot right back to that foot peg to give us right back in that balance point to attack the next section. Like I said, it's obvious out here we always want to be in balance because it's one obstacle after another, corner obstacle, but it's no different up in the mountains or out in the desert. You want to get that foot right back to the foot peg. Another thing that I really like to focus on is my body position. I've went back and forth with this. If we watch the motocross racers, they like to call it the attack position. It's back here, it's down low. If you watch the EnduroCross and the more trials guys, it's more of, I like to call it the boss stance. It's more square here. Now there's different advantages to both of these positions. The attack position allows us to be low and fill the bike and really attack those fast sections. The boss stance, which is more of a straight up and down stance, is more of a straight up and down with the shock, which provides us traction for the rear tire. Now in EnduroCross, we're bouncing back and forth between these two stances because sometimes we have more motocross sections, sometimes we have more technical trials sections. So I'm constantly bouncing back. I encourage you to try both of these stances to really, on those high speed in the desert, when you're really getting after it, to get back here and really get down low. And then when you're going up that gnarly rock hill and you just can't quite get traction, you're trying to figure it out, square it up a little bit more and drive your hips down into that rear tire to get traction. The last tip that I have for you is when we're going in turns, you'll hear a lot of times, he's a front end steer guy, he's a rear end steer guy. You know, they always said Villapoto's a rear end steer guy. He slides that back tire in. Well, Dungy's a front end steer guy. What you need to do is understand the differences and be able to utilize both. A rear end steer guy likes to slide that back end around. Really get comfortable with your rear brake. A front end steer guy likes to slide his weight forward and weight that front tire and feel that traction. Sometimes I'll even drag the front brake a little bit to weight that front tire to feel the traction. In order to be a good all-around rider, you need both. Because Villapoto was a rear end steer guy, he was still one of the best front end steer guys. He just utilized that better, right? So you need to be able to, on hard packed turns, be able to learn how to slide that rear end. And by doing that, you can literally just practice in a flat area and just practice sliding that rear end around. And then go around that same turn, slide your weight forward, up towards the front of the tank, weight that front tire and really feel the traction. So these are basically 2 corner tips in one, where we're utilizing the different techniques to turn that bike. So let's go back through what we learned. First, we want to stay loose. Tip number 1, we've got to be loose. Everything works off of being loose with the bike, allowing the bike to work and letting it work underneath us. If we're fighting the bike, it's going to wear us out. It's going to give us arm pump. 2, we want to get on the balls of our feet. We want to be able to utilize coming, shifting, and then getting back to the balls of our feet. We're always working back to the balls of our feet. Braking, same thing. We want to be able to kind of move around on those pegs and be comfortable, but get to the balls of your feet. If you look at the bottom of your boots where you're wearing, you should be wearing in the balls of your feet. 3, get that foot back on. We come into a corner, we have our foot out. We want to get it right back to the peg so we're ready to attack the next obstacle. It gives us traction, it gets us back, balance on the bike. 4, our stances. Boss stance, attack stance. And last but not least, what are we utilizing to steer the bike? Rear end steer with the rear brake, sliding that bike around on these flat, gravelly corners, or where we have ruts and we really want to feel that front end, weighting the front end, getting our weight up there so we can feel that traction, maybe dragging that front or rear brake a little bit to suck us into that rut, and then coming out and getting our foot back on. Those are my 5 pro tips for beginners, and thanks for checking out the YouTube from Rocky Mountain ATV MC, and check back for more. Thanks.